Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Super Conqueror. It's a tier 10 British heavy tank, and this one's located on the south spawn of Lakeville under the command of Curious Spore, and this is another team killing video. Okay, battle is about to commence. Now the team killer is the Strv 1030, the totallpunk is his name. And he team kills the Conqueror. He's actually a Conqueror, not a Super Conqueror. But where is he? Well, we can't see him at the moment, but he's somewhere around. Oh, he's gone to the Lake Road. That's it. At this moment, he's sitting on the Lake Road, looking for the enemy. Well, Curious Spore, who is the subject of our tank here, is moving up the valley to engage the enemy. She's in a platoon with Quantum Butt Nugget in the E75. What a name! That certainly is a name. That's one you will remember. And Curious Spore's gone up, and now the Strv 103 is now relocated himself from the Lake Road and is now directly behind Curious Spore. There in the distance, you can just make him out there, totallpunk, and he's directly behind Curious Spore, shooting down the valley. And you can see Curious Spore's just managed to get a hit on the Object 252U for 340. Of course, the alpha damage from this gun is 400, so it's a low roll that, but she bounces rounds from a T26E4 and a 252U, but doesn't get a shell into that enemy. Trying to get a shot into the 252U, it's difficult, very difficult, sliding down the slope as she's moving. She's in a good Arty safe position behind this hill here. You're going to get splashed and possibly get some stun, but you can at least spot the enemy if they're coming up the right side. You've got a Carnarvon just behind the hill there. Oh, there's the movement, pushing. Oh, snapshot didn't work that occasion. And the 252 comes out immediately afterwards, and we've spotted an SU-130M. And here comes the Pershing. Oh, again, it's a late snapshot of the Pershing. And the Carnarvon's decided to come around the corner. Oh, and he's just been wiped out by the T28 prototype. And that sounded like an ammo rack explosion. So he's probably blown his turret off. And we saw a puff of diesel smoke there from that Object 252U. And we can now see him. And unfortunately, Curious Spore was not able to penetrate. Oh, and was penetrated in return for 427, which is a high roll from the 252U, because that one's got an alpha damage of 390. Now, the 130 comes into view, and Curious Spore exacts revenge on him, or takes a shot for a nice shot for 439. Going for another one. She can't get the gun depression to work. 252U pops out for another shot. Here comes the Super Pershing, and she's working this corner really well, actually, doing extremely well. She's got quite a long reload, 9.33 seconds. Going for the Super Pershing, gets a round in. 371. It looked like it went through the front plate. This is working the valley like a boss. It is difficult to do, but it can be done. She went for the cupola on the 252U, but wasn't able to get it through. Remember, the 252U is much like the IS-6 in its turret design, but it's basically an IS-3 chassis as such. So it's kind of a cross between an IS-6 and an IS-3. So it's a very tough chassis, very tough turret. That's why they're so difficult to kill. Oh, bounced around from that Object 252U again and saved herself 440 hit points. Oh, Object 252U makes a big mistake pulling out there, and Curious Sport punishes him for it. Puts a round into him for 449, and he's pulling back because he's not getting anything here, and the town is falling to her teammates. No, just missed the opportunity to get the super Pershing there because of gun depression. It's very difficult to get the gun depression. Going for the cupola again, just failed but bounces around. She's working very, very hard on this corner, and somebody's pushing that wreck out in front, and she takes the opportunity. Oh, unfortunately, it doesn't go through. It's the Pershing is pushing that wreck out to provide cover for his teammates, and of course he might actually help Curious Sport to put some rounds through. Now you can see those rounds coming from the back, and it appears that Strv 103 team killed somebody and was just put out of his misery by the T28 prop. Curious Sport goes in, gets a hit on the T26 for only, well, actually she didn't. She took damage for 44 hit points. Goes for the turret cheeks and gets one through 354 and takes a round for 34 in return. So that's a good exchange. And she takes the super Pershing out the game for 206. Now next target's a Pershing. Can she shoot through the tracks? Well, I think she's going to try and get this Yak Tiger now. It's a very difficult shot because she hasn't got much in the way of gun depression to work with here. She's definitely trying to get a good position. Oh no, that didn't work. Puts one through the front plate of the Yak Tiger, but unfortunately she took 2 rounds in return. One of those was for 583 from the Yak Tiger and one for 211 from the Pershing. So this is not working out so well because she's now down to 651 hit points, but she's still working the corner. Can she get another round into the... Yep. Oh, bounced that one. Went off the gun mantlet. She pulls back to avoid... Oh, she got one over the top. The Pershing's come down and he's now into her side, but she can fire back. She's been ammo racked. She tries to fire one in, but it doesn't work. But the T-44 is coming around to try and stop this, and the Yak Tiger's got involved. The Pershing's been killed, and he's now blocking the shots of that Yak Tiger. So she can now get a shot on the Yak Tiger with a bit of protection. Oh, and the Yak Tiger gets her. Look at the shots she put into that Yak Tiger. And now she's saying, oh, now you all move up. Well, yes, quite. I mean, after all, she worked that corner like a boss, like a champ. And now they all come up to help her. And it's basically too late because now she's dead. But they do have a 2-tank advantage. They've conquered the town. And there's a whole load of dead tanks in the town. But they're now blocked by Jagdpanther 2. And it's now going to be up to the T-44 and the 53 TP to take care of that Yak Tiger. We've got a T-28 Prots moving up the Lake Road. And we're watching the E75, and he just put a massive round into the 252U. They haven't dealt with the Jagdpanther though yet. He's just around the corner. Oh, there he is. Now they're going to have to deal with him. They're using this building for cover. Or is he? No, he's taking care of our... he just killed our T-44. This makes it awkward for the E75 because he doesn't really want to expose himself to that 252U. So he's trying to use the building as well at the same time as fending off any attack from that Jagdpanther 2. Now he really needs the help of that T-28 Prot right now. But I think the Prot is aiming for the Jagdpanther 2. Unfortunately that rock's in the way, and now the Jagdpanther 2 comes around the corner and he's being hit from the T-28, but it didn't go through. And now the Object 252U is coming down. Now, can the T28 prototype take a shot into that 252U, put him out? If he can, that would be a great help. He does! He gets him. So. Oh! Quantum Butt Nugget went down. He did get 3 kills. He was in platoon with Curious Spore. But now it's only the T28 prototype who's left. And I'm not sure he's going to be able to survive against a Jagdpanther 2, a Batchat 155-55 and a Jagdtiger. And the Jagdtiger did manage to conquer the last tanks in the valley, as well as killing Curious Spore. And so I think this is going to look like a loss from now on in. Yep, we've switched to the T28 prototype. Now, I will try and find out exactly who actually did the team killing on whom at the end of this battle when we get to the results. But we do know it was the Strv 1030 who actually did the team killing. He's got -1 against his name and he went blue. But I think this is one of those occasions where it probably was a good idea not to kill the blue player, because at least if he had been alive, he might have been able to help save the team. And Greyhound 55 in the T28 prototype is pulling back because the Jagdtiger's coming down the road. Here he is. No, that's it. So they lost the game because totallpunk team killed. Curious Spore did as much work as she could, but in the end, she was taken out of the game, and the other guys just didn't come up soon enough to help her. Here's the end of battle results. We can see that Curious Spore did manage to get a 5 for effect in that game, but no other awards. If we look at the team scores, we can see that it was the T54 on their team managed to do best with 3,150 hit points. The high score on the enemy team is the Jagdtiger that killed Curious Spore. Curious Spore came in 3rd highest damage on her team with 2,837 hit points. Now, if we can see, we can look at the number of kills. We can see the E75 Quantum Butt Nugget managed to get 3 kills. Then the T54 with 3, and then Curious Spore with 1 kill. The high scorers on the enemy team was their Batchatillon 155-55, and the Jagdtiger both with 3 kills, and the Jagdpanther and the Object 705 with 2 kills apiece. And when it came to base XP, it was the Jagdtiger who managed to score the most. And then we can see that Quantum Butt Nugget managed to get 568 base XP and Curious Spore 560. If we look at the Strv, we can see that he was destroyed by Greyhound 55, the T28 prototype. He wiped him out. But if we look down the list, we can see who was actually team killed, and it was totallpunk who killed the M5355. So our Arty was actually wiped out by totallpunk. And as a consequence, he wasn't able to give any fire support to the guys in the valley. If he'd been allowed to live, then Curious Spore may have got the fire support she needed to overcome that Jagdtiger and kill him. But yeah, totallpunk really ruined this game for his team and allowed the enemy to win by killing the Arty, Cap 127. So if you see totallpunk on the enemy team and you're in an Arty, do feel free to attack him and give him permanent stun. He's on the NA server, totallpunk, but he certainly is an idiot, and he's living up to his name by team killing your Arty, because it's the last thing you want to do. So if you see this person, make sure he's given a bad time. Thanks very much.